I'm Jeremy. Today is day 91 of reading. Today we're reading Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. Let's get started. We're on page 173. George Weasley wrestling the rogue bludger into a box. It was still putting up a terrific fight. "Stand back," said Lockhart, who was rolling up his jade green sleeves. "No, don't," said Harry weakly. But Lockhart was twirling his wand, and a second later had directed it straight at Harry's arm. It was a strange and unpleasant sensation, started at Harry's shoulder and spread all the way to his fingertips. It felt as though his arms were being deflated. He didn't dare look that way at what was happening. He had to shut his eyes. His face turned away from his arm, but his worst fears were realized as the people above him gasped. Colin Creevey began clicking away madly. His arm didn't hurt anymore, nor did it feel remotely like an arm. "Ah," said Lockhart. "Yes, well, that can sometimes happen, but the point is, the bones are no longer broken. That's the thing to bear in mind. So, Harry, just toddle up to the hospital wing. Mr. Weasley, Miss Granger, would you escort him? And Madame Pomfrey will be able to tidy you up a bit." As Harry got to his feet, he felt strangely lopsided. Taking a deep breath, he looked down at his right side. What he saw nearly made him pass out again. Poking out at the end of his robe was what looked like a thick, flesh-colored rubber glove. He tried to move his fingers. Nothing happened. Lockhart hadn't mended Harry's bones. He had removed them. But Aunt Pomfrey wasn't at all pleased. "You should have come straight to me," she raged, holding up the sad lip reminder of what half an hour before had been a working arm. "I can mend bones in a second, but growing them back—" "You will be able to, won't you?" said Harry desperately. "I'll be able to, certainly, but it will be painful," said Madame Pomfrey grimly, throwing Harry a pair of pajamas. "You'll have to stay the night." Hermione waited outside the curtains drawn around Harry's bed while Ron helped him into his pajamas. It took a while to stuff the rubbery, boneless arm into a sleeve. "How can you stick up for Lockhart now, Hermione? Eh?" Ron called through the curtain as he pulled Harry's limp fingers through the cup. If Harry had wanted deboning, he would have asked. "Anyone can make a mistake," said Hermione. "And it doesn't hurt anymore, does it, Harry?" "No," said Harry, getting into bed. "But it doesn't do anything else either." He swung over into the bed, his arm flapped pointlessly. Hermione and Madame Pomfrey came around the curtain. Madame Pomfrey was holding a large bottle of something labeled Skele-Gro. "You're in for a rough night," she said, pouring out a steamy beakerful and handing it back to him. "Regrowing bones is a nasty business. So was taking the Skele-Gro. It burned Harry's mouth and throat as it went down, making him cough and splutter. Still tut-tutting about dangerous sports and inept teachers, Madame Pomfrey retreated, leaving Ron and Hermione to help Harry gulp down some water. "We won, though," said Harry, a grin breaking across his face. "That was some catch you made." Malfoy's face, he looked ready to kill. "I want to know how to fix that bludger," said Hermione darkly. "We can add that to the list of questions we'll ask him when we've taken the Polyjuice potion," said Harry, sinking back into his pillows. "I hope it tastes better than this stuff. If it's got bits of Slytherin in it?" "You've got to be joking," said Ron. The door of the hospital wing burst open at that moment. Filthy and soaking wet, the rest of the Gryffindor had arrived to see Harry. "Unbelievable flying, Harry," said George. "I just see Marcus Flynn yelling at Malfoy. Something about having the snitch on the top of his head and not noticing." Malfoy didn't seem too happy. They had brought cakes, sweets, and bottles of pumpkin juice. They gathered around Harry's bed and were just getting started on what promised to be a good party when Madame Pomfrey came storming over, shouting, "This boy needs rest! He's got 33 bones to regrow! Out! Out!" And Harry was left alone, with nothing to distract him from the stabbing pains in his limp arm. Hours and hours later, Harry woke up quite suddenly in a pitch of blackness and gave a small yelp of pain. His arms now felt full of large splinters. For a second, he thought that was what had woken him. Now, with a thrill of horror, he realized that someone was sponging his forehead in the dark. "Get off," he said loudly, and then, Dobby! The house elf's goggling tennis ball eyes were peering at Harry through the darkness. A single tear was running down his long, pointed nose. "Harry Potter came back to school," he whispered miserably. Dobby warned and warned Harry Potter. "Ah, sir, why didn't you heed Dobby? Why didn't Harry Potter go back home when he missed the train?" Harry heaved himself up on his pillows and pushed Dobby's sponge away. "What are you doing here?" he said. "And how do you know I missed the train?" Dobby's lip trembled, and Harry was seized by a sudden suspicion. "It was you," he said slowly. "You stopped the barrier from letting us through." "Indeed, yes, sir," said Dobby, nodding his head vigorously, ears flapping. Dobby hid and watched Harry Potter and sealed the gateway, and Dobby had to iron his hands afterward. He showed Harry 10 long, bandaged fingers. But Dobby didn't care, sir, for he thought Harry Potter was safe, and never did Dobby dream that Harry Potter would still get to school another way. He was rocking backward and forward, shaking his ugly head. Dobby was so shocked when he heard Harry Potter was back at Hogwarts, he let his master's dinner done. Such a flogging Dobby never had, sir. Harry slumped back onto his pillows. "You nearly got Ron and me expelled," he said fiercely. "You better get lost before my bones come back, Dobby, or I might strangle you." Dobby smiled weakly. "Dobby is used to death threats, sir. Dobby gets them 5 times a day at home." He blew his nose on a corner of the filthy pillowcase he wore, looking so pathetic that Harry felt his anger ebb away in spite of himself. "Why do you wear that thing, Dobby?" he asked curiously. "This, sir?" said Dobby, plucking at the pillowcase. "'Tis a mark of a house elf's enslavement, sir. Dobby can only be freed if his masters present him with clothes, sir. The family is careful not to pass Dobby even a sock, sir, for then he would be free to leave their house forever." Dobby mopped his bulging eyes and said suddenly, "Harry Potter must go home." Dobby thought his bludger would be enough to make. "Your bludger?" said Harry, anger rising once more. "What do you mean, your bludger? You made that bludger try and kill me?" "Not kill you, sir, never kill you," said Dobby, shocked. "Dobby wants to save Harry Potter's life, better him sent home. Previously injured, they remained here, sir. Dobby only wanted Harry Potter hurt enough to be sent home." "Oh, is that all?" said Harry angrily. "I don't suppose you're going to tell me why you wanted me sent home in pieces?" "Ah, if only Harry Potter only knew," Dobby groaned, more tears dripping on his ragged pillowcase. "If he knew what he means." Thank you, everyone. That's all for today. Bye. See you tomorrow.